In 1976, a film arrived that would change the landscape of horror cinema forever. This was the year that Carrie hit theaters and redefined what audiences could expect from a scary movie. Directed by the visionary Brian De Palma and starring the unforgettable Sissy Spacek alongside Piper Laurie, Carrie brought terror to a place everyone knows all too well: high school. Instead of relying on traditional monsters or supernatural ghosts, the film's horror was rooted in something far more real and relatable: the pain of bullying, the sting of isolation, and the everyday cruelty that teenagers can inflict on one another. Carrie was based on Stephen King's very first novel, a story that would launch his legendary career as the master of horror. The film itself became a breakout hit, catapulting both King and De Palma into the spotlight and forever changing their lives. What made Carrie stand out was its unique blend of supernatural horror and a deeply emotional coming-of-age story, making the terror feel personal and immediate. Audiences didn't just fear what was happening on screen, they felt for Carrie herself, a character whose pain and longing for acceptance made every scare hit even harder. De Palma's hypnotic visual style, with his use of slow motion and innovative split screens, pulled viewers deep into Carrie's troubled world, making them experience her fear and confusion firsthand. The film tapped into universal fears: being an outsider, the desperate need for acceptance, and the terrifying consequences that can unfold when the bullied finally fight back. Carrie proved that horror could be both artistic and emotionally resonant, earning Oscar nominations for its powerful lead performances and gaining respect from critics and audiences alike. It set a bold new standard for the genre, opening doors for smart, ambitious horror films that dared to explore real human emotions and social issues. After Carrie, horror would never be the same. Its impact still echoes through the genre today, inspiring filmmakers and haunting audiences for generations. Our story centers on Carrie White, a painfully shy and awkward teenager who exists on the fringes of her high school. She's an outcast, constantly singled out and tormented by her classmates who see her as different and vulnerable. Carrie's days are filled with isolation, her presence barely noticed except when she becomes the target of cruel jokes and relentless bullying. At home, things are no better. Carrie's mother, Margaret, is a deeply religious and fanatical woman whose oppressive rules and harsh punishments make home life suffocating. Carrie is denied even the smallest freedoms, her every move watched and judged, leaving her with nowhere to feel safe or accepted. After a humiliating and traumatic incident in the school locker room, Carrie's world changes forever. In the midst of her distress, she discovers she possesses telekinetic powers, an ability to move objects with her mind, triggered by her intense emotions. This secret power becomes both a source of fear and a glimmer of hope for Carrie, hinting at a strength she never knew she had. As the bullying at school grows more vicious, Carrie's powers intensify. The more she is pushed, the stronger her abilities become, simmering just beneath the surface, waiting to erupt. Meanwhile, Sue Snell, one of Carrie's classmates, is racked with guilt over her role in the locker room incident. Wanting to make amends, Sue convinces her kind-hearted boyfriend, Tommy, to invite Carrie to the prom. For the first time, Carrie feels a spark of hope. Maybe she can experience a night of happiness and acceptance like everyone else. But Carrie's mother forbids her from attending, convinced that prom is sinful and dangerous. Despite her mother's threats and emotional manipulation, Carrie finds the courage to stand up for herself. She sews her own dress, determined to claim a piece of normal teenage life, and defies Margaret's control for the first time. Unbeknownst to Carrie, another plot is unfolding. Chris Hargensen, a popular girl banned from prom for her cruelty, is consumed by anger and humiliation. She enlists her troublemaker boyfriend, Billy, to help her orchestrate a cruel and elaborate revenge against Carrie, setting the stage for disaster. The film masterfully builds suspense, cutting between Carrie's hopeful preparations for the prom and Chris's sinister scheming. As Carrie applies her makeup and dreams of a magical night, Chris and Billy sneak into the gym, setting their trap under the cover of darkness. The audience feels a growing sense of dread, knowing that something terrible is about to happen. The details of the plan remain hidden, but the tension is palpable, hanging over every scene like a storm about to break. As Carrie nervously enters the prom, we can't help but root for her happiness. Surrounded by classmates who have always shunned her, she dares to hope for acceptance, even as unease grows in the air. The gym is transformed for the big night, filled with balloons, streamers, and the promise of magic. The stage is set for a night that could change everything, for better or for worse. The tension reaches a breaking point, leading to one of the most shocking and unforgettable climaxes in horror history. The audience is left breathless, witnessing the devastating consequences of cruelty and the unleashing of Carrie's true power. Carrie White is horror's ultimate tragic outcast. Isolated and bullied, she's defined by pain, at school and at home. Her telekinesis, triggered by stress, is both a metaphor for her bottled-up rage and a literal force. At first, she can't control it. It's a defense mechanism for years of suffering. As she experiments, Carrie finds confidence and a sense of identity. Her powers symbolize her potential to break free from oppression. She longs to be normal, but her abilities set her apart, fueling an internal struggle. Is she a victim or a monster? The film keeps us guessing. Carrie is a gentle soul pushed to her breaking point, her powers the tragic result of relentless cruelty. She's a warning about the consequences of mistreatment. Her story is both heartbreaking and terrifying. Carrie is every outsider's nightmare and fantasy. Is a raw, unflinching look at bullying and its devastating effects, both seen and unseen. The film doesn't shy away from showing how relentless cruelty can shape a person's entire world, leaving scars that are far deeper than what's visible on the surface. The infamous locker room scene is a powerful depiction of the cruelty of group mentality, where the need to belong can turn ordinary people into tormentors. It's a moment that captures the pain of being different, of standing out when all you want is to fit in. Carrie's loneliness is total and suffocating. She has no friends at school, no comfort or understanding at home, and faces only judgment and fear from her mother. The isolation she feels is almost tangible, making her world feel small and inescapable. Sissy Spacek's haunting performance draws us into Carrie's pain, making us feel the crushing weight of her isolation and longing for connection. The film also delves into the dangers of religious fanaticism through Margaret White, Carrie's mother, who uses her faith as a weapon to control and punish. Her twisted beliefs create a home that is as frightening as the outside world. Home, for Carrie, is a place of terror, not safety. Margaret's warped sense of righteousness justifies her abuse, making every moment at home fraught with fear and tension. The film critiques how belief, when twisted by fear and ignorance, can become a tool for cruelty rather than comfort. At its heart, the film is a dark, haunting coming-of-age story. It explores the confusion, fear, and vulnerability that come with growing up, especially when you feel like an outsider. Carrie's first period and the awakening of her supernatural powers are powerful metaphors for her terrifying entry into womanhood. These moments symbolize the fear and confusion that can come with change, especially when you have no one to guide you. Her desperate desire for acceptance, for just one night of normalcy, is heartbreakingly crushed by hatred and humiliation. What begins as a hopeful journey quickly spirals into tragedy, showing how fragile hope can be in a hostile world. The film is, at its core, about a flower trying to bloom in hostile soil, a story of innocence struggling to survive in a world that seems determined to destroy it. It's a cautionary tale about the cost of cruelty, and a reminder of how easily kindness can be drowned out by fear and ignorance. Decades later, the story still resonates, reminding us of the dangers of exclusion and the desperate need for empathy in a world that too often chooses judgment over understanding. The prom scene is legendary, a masterclass in suspense and heartbreak. It starts as a dream. Carrie, radiant in her dress, is finally accepted, dancing with Tommy under magical lights. De Palma's direction lulls us into hope, making the coming horror even more brutal. The split-screen technique builds unbearable tension as the bucket of blood hovers above, unseen by Carrie. When the blood falls, the dream shatters. Carrie's humiliation is total. In that instant, her pain turns to rage. Doors slam, lights flash, and her telekinetic fury erupts in chaos. The prom transforms from fairy tale to nightmare, a massacre born from cruelty. De Palma's style, flashing lights, chaotic editing, makes the horror unforgettable. The scene encapsulates the film, hope, betrayal, and explosive revenge. Once seen, it's never forgotten. The prom scene redefined what horror could be. It's the moment that made immortal. Owes its power to Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie. Spacek's transformation from timid outcast to vengeful force is mesmerizing. She embodies Carrie's pain, hope, and fury. often without a word. Her performance makes Carrie heartbreakingly real. Piper Laurie's Margaret White is equally unforgettable. A fanatic whose love is as terrifying as her wrath. Laurie plays Margaret as both monstrous and pitiable, never a simple villain. The mother-daughter dynamic is electric, filled with psychological tension. Their confrontations are the film's emotional core. When Carrie finally stands up to Margaret, it's cathartic and chilling. Without these performances, wouldn't be a classic. They turned a horror story into a human tragedy. Was a surprise blockbuster, earning over $33 million on a tiny budget. Audiences were captivated by its blend of teen drama and supernatural horror. The prom scene and shocking ending became instant legends. Critics praised De Palma's direction and the performances of Spacek and Laurie. The film earned 2 Oscar nominations, legitimizing horror as serious art. Launched Stephen King's career and made De Palma a major director. Its influence is everywhere, from two. The story of a bullied outcast with powers became a pop culture staple. The film's themes and iconic scenes still resonate with new generations. Didn't just scare audiences, it changed horror forever. The making of is filled with fascinating stories. Sissy Spacek fought for the role, showing up to her audition looking as awkward as Carrie herself. Her commitment won her the part and defined her career. The prom scene's blood was corn syrup and food coloring. Spacek wore it for days to keep continuity. She even wanted real pig's blood, but the crew refused. De Palma's Hitchcock-inspired style, especially the split screen, gave the film its unique tension. Auditions overlapped with actors trying for both films. Stephen King praised the adaptation, calling it more artistic than his novel. Spacek's dedication and De Palma's vision made the film unforgettable. The behind-the-scenes passion is part of what makes a classic. Decades later remains powerful and relevant. Its themes, bullying, alienation, the search for acceptance, are timeless. The film's emotional impact and craftsmanship keep it fresh for new audiences. De Palma's direction and the iconic performances elevate it beyond genre. The pacing builds dread and sympathy, exploding in the unforgettable prom sequence. The final jump scare, Carrie's hand from the grave, became a horror staple. It's more than a supernatural thriller. It's a tragic fairy tale and a warning about cruelty. It works as horror, drama, and character study. The film scares, moves, and provokes thought. That's the mark of a true classic. Will haunt and captivate audiences for generations.